Zane here. Glad you found us. Where are you listening from? Tell me your story. Take a deep breath with me, and let's dive into today's story. By the time she asked me if I would ever date a single mom, I already cared way too much about her door. It was just a cheap door on the third floor of an old brick building on Maple Street. The kind of place landlords buy in bulk and never visit. The hallway smelled like wet carpet and old takeout. The light above my head buzzed and flickered. Someone had stuck a cartoon sticker on the exit sign like the building was trying to be friendly and tired at the same time. The frame around 3CS lock was cracked. That was why I was there. A work order from Matt, the landlord who still called me kid even though I was 32 and the one stopping his building from falling apart. I set my tool bag down and knocked once. Not hard, just firm. I heard soft footsteps inside. A pause. The clink of a chain sliding. The deadbolt turned. The door opened only a few inches. One brown eye looked out at me through the gap. Calm, sharp, not scared, but ready. "Can I help you?" she asked. Her voice was low and steady. "Jake Miller," I said, holding up the work order so she could see her apartment number on it. "Building maintenance. Your lock was sticking, and the door frame took a hit." Her eye dropped to the paper, then to my tool bag, then back to my face. She used those seconds to study me the way I usually study cracked walls. "Looking for signs of trouble. You got ID?" she asked. "Yeah," I said. I pulled my badge from my shirt pocket and held it up in the gap. She looked at it longer than most people do. Only when she finished did she open the door wider. The chain stayed on. "I do this with everyone now," she said. "Sorry." "No reason to be sorry," I said. "You're doing it right." She clicked the chain off and stepped back. "Come in," she said. "I'm Lauren. Lauren Hayes." I stepped inside and let the door close behind me. Her place was small but cared for. The couch faced the window instead of the TV. A blue blanket was folded over the back. There was a neat row of tiny shoes by the door, at least 2 different sizes. A pink backpack hung on a hook by the kitchen. Crayons were scattered across the coffee table. A coloring book opened to a half-finished page. A cartoon fox stared up at me, half-colored in. The crack in the frame was just above my shoulder, splintered inward. Someone had hit this door hard. I crouched and ran my thumb over the damage. The wood was soft pine, the cheap kind that dents with a fingernail. "Someone try the door?" I asked. Lauren leaned against the kitchen counter with her arms wrapped around herself like she was cold, even though the room was warm. "Last week," she said. "My ex. He's not on the lease. I told him he can't just show up anymore. He didn't like that." She said it like she was reading the weather. Straight facts, no drama. "You call the cops?" I asked. "I did," she said. "They came. He was gone by then. They told me to get the lock checked, keep the chain on, and call again if he comes back." Her mouth twisted a little on that last part. I had heard that line before. Everybody had. I nodded and opened my tool bag. Drill, chisel, longer screws, stronger strike plate. You cannot fix a whole life with a door, but you can at least make it harder for trouble to walk in. I opened the door and looked at the frame from the hallway side, then closed it again and turned the deadbolt. It stuck halfway, then jumped with a loud thunk. "How long has it been like this?" I asked. "A while," she said. "It got worse this month." "You should have called sooner," I said. "I did," she said. "Matt kept saying he'd send someone. Guess he finally meant it." I did not defend the landlord. I just set my chisel and started cleaning out the crushed wood. Each tap of my hammer knocked loose soft pieces of pine. The sound was sharp and steady and filled the quiet room. Lauren moved around the kitchen while I worked. She did not hover, but she stayed where she could see both me and the door. She poured coffee into a chipped mug, then held up the pot. "You want some?" she asked. "Sure," I said. "Black is fine." She poured a second mug and set it on the counter near me. The smell cut through the dry wood dust. "Warm. A little cinnamon." "You bake?" I asked. "Used to," she said, "before I started working nights. Now I just put sugar and cinnamon in the coffee and pretend it's dessert." I smiled a little without meaning to. She saw it, and the corner of her mouth twitched like she wanted to match it but did not trust herself yet. "You work nights where?" I asked. "Hospital laundry," she said. "Third shift. Sheets don't complain as much as people do. It's fine." She said fine a lot, but nothing about this felt fine. I cut out the soft wood and slid a narrow strip of oak into the space I made. It was no wider than my thumb, but solid. When I tapped it in, it locked tight against the frame. The pine around it almost seemed relieved to have something strong to lean on. Lauren watched my hands. "What's that?" she asked. "Hardwood shim," I said. The old screws were only in soft wood and drywall. First good hit, and they ripped out. This gives the lock something real to grab. "So you're giving my door a backbone," she said. "Something like that," I said. I swapped the tiny factory screws for long ones that reached deep into the oak. My drill whined, then settled as metal bit into real wood. "You live in the building?" she asked. "Yeah," I said. "First floor, back corner. I keep my tools in the basement. Mac gets cheap maintenance. I get cheap rent. It works." "You do this full time?" she asked. "Mostly," I said. "Maintenance for him. I build custom stuff on the side. Tables, shelves, kitchen islands when people want to feel fancy." She smiled a little more at that. "You like it?" she asked. "Fixing things." "Yeah," I said. "It's honest. Either it holds or it doesn't. No pretending." She went quiet at that word. Pretending. Like it landed somewhere close. When I finished with the lock, I closed the door and tested it. The bolt slid smooth into the new wood when I leaned my shoulder into it. Not too hard, but with some weight. The frame did not even creak. "Try it," I said. She set her mug down and came closer. I noticed she kept just enough distance to move fast if she had to. She turned the knob, closed the door, and locked it. The bolt clicked in with a firm, clean sound. "It feels different," she said. "Stronger," I said. "If someone hits this door now, they're really hitting the wall, not just the trim." She looked at the frame like she was seeing more than wood. "Thank you," she said. "No problem," I said. "If your ex shows up again and tries it, call the cops. Then call me. I want to see how my work holds up." She let out a small laugh. "You say that like it's a science project," she said. "In a way it is," I said. "Pressure shows you what was built right and what was just pretending to be solid." She tilted her head. "You always talk like that?" she asked. "About doors and pressure and pretending?" "Only when I've had enough coffee," I said. Her eyes warmed at that. Not a full smile, but close. Outside, a car door slammed. Somewhere in the building a TV turned up. Life kept going. Inside her apartment, it felt like there was a small pocket of quiet around us, like it could turn into something else if we let it. "Can I ask you something personal?" she said. I wiped my hands on a rag. "You can ask," I said. "I can decide if I answer." "That's fair," she said. She looked down at her hands for a second, then back up at me. Her eyes were different now. Not guarded. Not flat. Open and a little scared. "If this is weird, you can pretend you never heard it," she said. "I just need to know what someone like you thinks." "Someone like me?" I asked. She nodded. "A guy who shows up when something is broken," she said. "Who has his life kind of together. Who is not 22 and still learning how to do laundry." My heart gave one slow, heavy beat. I did not know where this was going, but some part of me already cared. "Okay," I said. "Ask." She took a small breath. "Would you ever date a single mom?" she asked. For a second, the room went very still. The humming fridge, the ticking clock, the world outside the window. All of it faded. There was just her, standing by the counter, waiting for my answer like it might tell her something about her whole life. I leaned back against the wall, arms crossed, buying myself a second to think. "Is this a test?" I asked. "Or is this about you?" She held my gaze, and I could see it clear now. This was about her, and I knew my answer mattered. Her question hung in the air between us. "Would you ever date a single mom?" She did not look away. She was braced for my answer like she was waiting for a hit, not a word. My first reflex was to make a joke, to say something easy so the moment would slide past. But her face stopped me. There was nothing playful in her eyes. She looked like someone who had heard no too many times and was already trying to take the hit without flinching. I leaned back against the wall and crossed my arms, buying myself a little time. "Is this a test?" I asked. "Or is this about you?" Her mouth pulled into a small, crooked shape. "You're the one who said no pretending," she said. "I'm just staying on theme." I looked toward the tiny shoes by the door, the pink backpack, the crayons on the table, the half-colored fox. It was not a theory question. This was her life lined up against the wall. "This about Emma's dad?" I asked. "It's about me," she said quietly. "About how people see me when they see her." She took a breath and let it out slow. "You know how many guys I've met who were all in until they found out I have a kid?" she asked. "Suddenly, they're not ready. Suddenly, I'm too much. I work nights. I'm tired all the time. I don't have extra money. I can't drop everything and go out last minute. I can't pretend I'm 25 and free. So yeah, I want to know if a man who seems like he has his life kind of together would ever look at someone like me and see possible. Or if that's just something that happens in movies. Her voice didn't rise. That made it land harder. I let the silence sit for a few seconds. The wall clock ticked loud behind us. Okay, I said. Honest answer. That's the only one I want, she said. Then yes, I said. I would. Her head jerked a little, like she had not expected that. You would, she repeated. Yes, I said. If I liked her. If I respected her. If she was raising a tiny human and still standing up straight. That's not a warning sign. That's proof she can carry weight. She searched my face, like she was trying to find the catch I was hiding. So the kid wouldn't scare you off? She asked. The kid would make me more careful, I said. Which is good. You don't walk on a floor when a child is under it without checking the beams first. She let out a short breath and almost smiled. You and your building metaphors, she said. It's how my brain works, I said. Look, a single mom is not some special category. She's just a woman who already knows what real responsibility feels like. That means less games, less fake drama. It also means I don't get to be selfish. If I date her, I'm dating her life. That's the part that scares everyone, she said softly. It's supposed to, I said. Big things should scare you a little. It keeps your hands steady. She went quiet. Her fingers toyed with the handle of her mug. So why aren't you dating anyone now? She asked. If you're so reasonable. I smiled, but it felt a little tired even to me. Because I've been busy building other things, I said. My dad walked out when I was a kid. Left my mom with me, a leaky roof, and a pile of bills. I watched her fix one thing at a time. I promised myself I would never be the guy who walks away and leaves someone holding the bill. So I worked, saved, built up my tools, my place, my work. When I finally looked up, most people my age wanted festivals and road trips. I wanted a steady job and a quiet night. We did not match. Lauren studied me with a new kind of focus, like she was seeing a different side of the same wall. So you don't run, she said. Not my style, I said. I stay and fix. Sometimes I stay too long. But I don't leave people worse than I found them. That's the rule. Her throat moved like she was swallowing something heavy. Good rule, she said. The air between us felt full again. Not in a bad way. More like a beam settling on new posts, taking on weight. She looked toward the backpack, then back at me. I asked because she stopped and shook her head. It sounds stupid out loud. Ask anyway, I said. She took another breath. You're the first man in a long time who came into my space and made it feel safer, not smaller, she said. You didn't act like fixing my door was some big favor. You acted like it was your job and my right. And when I said my ex hit the door, you didn't ask what I did to make him mad. My jaw tightened. Someone asked you that. I said. People ask that kind of thing all the time, she said. They say they're just getting the full story. I shook my head once. Anger doesn't give you a pass to hit doors, walls, or people, I said. Full story or not. That's not a gray area. Her eyes went shiny for a moment, but she blinked the tears back like she was trained for it. Anyway, she said, voice a little rough. I didn't ask the question to get you to volunteer. I just wanted to know if there are men out there who don't write me off on sight. There are, I said. At least one. We held each other's gaze. The quiet stretched. Footsteps passed in the hall. A door closed somewhere down the corridor, pulling us back into the building. Lauren stepped away from the counter like she needed to move. Sorry, she said. That got heavy. Heavy is okay, I said. Heavy is real. She gave me a small, crooked smile. I should let you go, she said. You probably have other doors to fix. Yeah, I said. Couple more on the list. I started packing my tools. Slow on purpose, in case she wanted to say anything else. She did not, but she did not walk away either. She stayed near the counter, fingers tapping a nervous rhythm on the edge. When I picked up my bag, I nodded toward the door. Text me if the lock feels off, I said, or if he shows up again. I don't have your number, she said. I pulled a simple business card from my pocket and set it on the table. Jake Miller. Small logo for my side carpentry work. My cell at the bottom. That rings right in my pocket. I said, day or night. If I don't pick up, I'll call back. Even at night? She asked. Night doesn't scare me. I said, bad timing does. So if you call, I know it matters. She looked at the card like it was heavier than cardboard. Thank you, she said. For the door. for answering the question. No problem, I said. My hand was on the knob when she spoke again. Jake, she said. Yeah. I looked back. If I ever did ask you to, do more than fix the door, she said, cheeks flushing a little, I wouldn't ask as a test. I held her eyes. Good, I said. Because I don't do test runs with people's lives. Something flickered across her face. Fear. Hope. Both. I stepped into the hallway. The buzzing light felt harsher out here. As I pulled the door closed, I heard the new lock catch, solid and clean. That sound stayed in my head all the way down the stairs. That night, my phone buzzed. I woke fast, the way you do when you know the world can turn on a late call. The numbers on my cheap alarm clock read 2:13 a.m. unknown number. Local. One text. Jake, it's Lauren. I'm sorry to bother you. Are you awake? My heart kicked into a steady, sharp beat. I typed back one word. Yes. I didn't call. I went. By the time her second text came through, I was already pulling on my jeans. He's here again. At the door. Emma is awake. My chest tightened. I shoved my feet into my work boots, grabbed my hoodie, and headed out. The building was quiet in that heavy, middle-of-the-night way where every sound feels wrong. The stairwell smelled like dust and old heat. My boots hit each step, fast but steady. On the third floor, I heard him before I saw him. A heavy fist pounded on Lauren's door. Once. Twice. Hard. Lauren. A man's voice called, loud and angry. I know you're in there. Open the door. I stayed at the top of the stairs for 1 second and watched. He had his back to me, one hand on the frame. Tall, a little soft around the middle. Ball cap, hoodie. The kind of guy who thought size was enough to win. He hit the door again, flat palms slamming against the wood. Inside, I heard a small, scared voice. Mom, make him stop. Lauren's muffled voice answered, low and tight. Emma, stay in your room. It's okay. It was not okay. I stepped down the last 2 stairs. That's enough, I said. He spun around fast when I spoke. His eyes ran over me and narrowed. Who are you, he said. Maintenance, I said. For the building. Right now I'm the guy telling you to move away from that door. He scoffed. This is between me and Lauren, he said. Stay out of it. He turned back and raised his hand like he was going to hit the door again. Inside I heard it. A small, shaking voice. Mom, make him stop. Lauren's voice came through next, low but firm. Emma, stay in your room. You are safe. My jaw clenched. It did not sound safe. I stepped closer, so I was only a few feet behind him. You already broke this frame once, I said. You are not doing it again. He looked over his shoulder at me. You the guy who put that fancy new stuff in? He asked. Yeah, I said. He smirked. You think that makes you her hero? He said. She is my family. I kept my tone flat. If she is your family, why is she inside with the chain on and you are out here pounding on the door at 2 in the morning? I asked. His face went red. She moved my kid out of my place without a word, he snapped. I got a right to see her. You got a right to go to court and get a plan written down, I said. You do not have a right to scare a 6-year-old by banging on her door in the middle of the night. He took a step toward me, trying to get in my face. You going to stop me? He said. You think I am scared of some guy with a toolbox? My heart was beating hard, but not out of control. I had stood in front of flying boards and heavy beams. This was the same. Pressure and timing. I slid my phone from my pocket, hit the side button twice, and started a recording. Then I hit call and dialed 911, speaker off. The operator would hear what she needed to hear. I already stopped you, I said. You hit that door again, and this becomes a police report with your voice on file and a recording to back it up. You a cop? He asked. No, I said. Just a man who knows how paper works. Behind the door, Lauren called out, her voice tight. Jake? Is he gone? The guy's eyes widened. So she sent you out here, he said. You her guard dog now. He lifted his fist like he might shove past me. I shifted my stance slightly, put my weight in my legs. The faint voice of the 911 operator reached my ear. 911, what is your emergency? I did not answer her out loud. I just stayed facing him and let the phone pick up his shouting. I am not saying it again, I told him. Step away from the door and leave. You do not want whoever is listening on this call to hear you threaten anyone. He looked at my pocket, then at my face. I saw it hit him. Police. Records. Custody. Trouble. You are both crazy, he muttered. He stepped back once, then again. Len, he yelled toward the door. You better call me back, or you are going to hear a lot more from me. He turned and walked down the hall fast, shoulders tight, talking under his breath. I listened to his footsteps until I heard the stairwell door open and slam shut. Only then did I pull my phone all the way out. "Sir, are you safe?" the operator asked. "He left," I said. "Third floor of the Maple Street apartments." He was pounding on a door where there is already a history of trouble. Single mom and a kid inside. I have a recording if she wants to file something. "Officers are on the way to check," she said. "Please stay on scene if you can." "Yeah," I said. "I can." I hung up and turned back to the door. "Lauren," I said, standing close so she would hear me. "It's me. He is gone." The deadbolt turned slowly. The chain rattled. She opened the door a few inches and looked out, eyes wide, pupils large even in the dim light. Both her hands were tied on the edge of the door like she was holding it and herself up at the same time. "Is he really gone?" she asked. "Yes," I said. "He is heading down. Police are on their way to check in on you." She closed her eyes for a second. When she opened them again, there were tears stuck on her lashes that did not fall. "Thank you," she said, voice soft and raw. "Can I come in?" I asked. "Just until the cops get here, so you are not alone." She hesitated for a second, then nodded and stepped back. The apartment felt different now. The same walls, same couch, same blanket, but the air was tighter. Emma stood near the couch in a t-shirt that was one size too big, clutching a stuffed bear. Her cheeks were wet. Her eyes were big and scared. "Is he mad?" Emma whispered. Lauren went straight to her, kneeling so they were eye level. "He is gone," she said softly. "You are safe." Emma looked past her at me. "Who are you?" she asked. "I am Jake," I said, crouching down so I was not towering over her. "I fixed your door today. I came to check that it still works." Her hand tightened on the bear. "Did it work?" she asked. I glanced at the frame, at the uncracked wood, at the solid lock. "Yeah," I said. "He hit it. It held. Your mom locked it, and the door stayed strong." Emma nodded with a serious little face like she was filing that away. Lauren's hand rested on the back of her head, fingers moving in slow circles. There was a knock on the door again. Softer this time. "Police," a voice called. "Building security." Lauren stiffened. Emma flinched. "I have it," I said. I opened the door. Two officers stood there, one older, one younger. I gave them the quick version. Angry X, late hour, past damage to the door. I played them part of the recording so they could hear his tone and the things he said. They took notes. They spoke to Lauren at the doorway, asked if she wanted to press charges, explained her options. They gave her a case number and a card, told her to call if he came back. When they finally left, the hallway felt long and empty. Inside, Lauren sat on the couch with Emma folded into her side. The TV was on now, low, some bright cartoon with soft voices filling the room. "You want me to go?" I asked from near the door. "Or stay a little?" Lauren looked down at Emma. The kid was awake but fading, body still wired from fear. "Can you stay until she falls asleep?" she asked. "I can pay you for your time." "You are not paying me," I said. "And yeah, I can stay." I took the armchair across from them and set my tool bag at my feet. I pretended to watch the cartoon. Really, I watched the way Lauren's hand moved through Emma's hair, slow and steady, like a metronome for breathing. After a while, Emma's eyes slipped closed. Her grip on the bear loosened. Lauren stayed still for a few more minutes, then eased out from under her in that careful way only parents seem to know. She pulled a blanket over Emma and tucked it in around her shoulders. Then she walked to the kitchen and started making coffee without asking if I wanted more, like it was already understood. When she handed me a mug, our fingers brushed. Her hand was warm now, not cold. "Thank you," she said again. "I know you did not sign up for night duty." "I told you," I said. "Night does not scare me." She sat on the edge of the couch facing me, turning her mug in her hands. "You answered my question earlier," she said. "About single moms." "Yeah," I said. "I did not think I would see proof this fast," she said. "You in the hall with him at this hour." "I did it for the door," I said, trying to lighten it. She shook her head. "You did it for us," she said. "For me and Emma." Her eyes held mine for a long second. There was something in them now that had not been there before. Less doubt. More weight. "You still feel the same way?" she asked quietly. "About your answer." My chest gave that same heavy thump as before. "Yes," I said. "If anything, I feel it stronger now." She looked down into her coffee, then back at me. Her eyes were tired and soft and clear all at once. I have another question, she said, but I think it can wait until morning. Curiosity ran through me like a live wire, but I did not push. Morning is fine, I said. I am not going anywhere. For the first time since I moved into that building, saying that did not feel like being stuck. It felt like making a choice. Later, I dozed in the chair, that light kind of sleep you get on job sites when you are waiting on a delivery. Every creak in the building drifted through me. None of it felt dangerous anymore. The only steady sounds were the fridge humming and the wall clock ticking. The last thought in my head before I really slept was simple and solid. The door held, and I wanted to be the kind of man who did too. When I opened my eyes, the light in the room was soft and gray. My neck hurt from the angle of the chair. My back popped when I shifted. For a second I forgot where I was. Then I saw the blue blanket on the couch, the crayons on the table, the pink backpack by the door. 3C. Lauren was in the kitchen in an oversized t-shirt and leggings. Her hair was up in a loose knot. No makeup. She looked like she had slept only a little, but there was something calmer in her face. "You snore," she said quietly. I rubbed my eyes and sat up. "I do not snore," I said. She lifted one eyebrow. "You do a little," she said. It was kind of comforting, actually. She poured coffee and walked it over to me. "How long have you been up?" I asked. "Half an hour," she said. Emma finally crashed hard around 4. "She is still out." "Thank you for staying," she added. "You already said that," I said. "I know," she said. "It still does not feel like enough." We sat in a quiet that did not feel heavy this time. It felt earned. The kind of quiet that comes after a storm when nothing is broken that cannot be fixed. "Did he text?" I asked. She picked her phone up from the counter, sighed, and showed me the screen. A long message from her ex. The words bounced between anger, guilt, and fake sorry. I started to answer, she said. Then I stopped. "Good," I said. "We can work out a plan later. You do not owe him late-night access anymore." She looked at the phone for another second, then set it face down on the counter like she was done letting his words be the loudest in the room. "Emma has school," she said. "I have to pretend to be a normal person and make cereal." "That is normal," I said. "People eat cereal." That made her smile a little. She opened a cabinet and pulled out 2 boxes. "I have kid sugar and adult boring," she said. "Pick your poison." "I will take adult boring," I said. "Of course you will," she said with a tiny laugh. By the time Emma padded out of her room, rubbing her eyes and dragging her bear, there were 3 bowls on the table. I moved back toward the chair to give them space, but Emma saw me and stopped. "You are still here?" she asked. "Yeah," I said. "Door inspector. I had to make sure it works in the morning too." She nodded like that made perfect sense and climbed into her chair. Lauren watched us with an expression I could not quite name. Soft, careful, like she was measuring the shape of this morning. After breakfast, I walked them down to the lobby. The air outside was cold and clear. Emma's school bus stopped at the corner. Lauren kept her hand on Emma's backpack strap until the doors opened. Emma climbed in, turned, and waved at both of us before finding a seat. When the bus pulled away, Lauren's hand dropped. For a second, she looked smaller without her kid next to her. Then she straightened and took a breath. "So," she said, "morning is here." "Yeah," I said. "You said you had another question." "The other question is due," she said. "You make it sound like homework," I said. "It feels like it," she said. Big grate attached. We rode the elevator back up in silence. The same old building smell of dust and cheap cleaner wrapped around us, but my chest did not feel as tight as it had last night. When we walked into her apartment, it felt different than it did the day before. Same space, new weight. She closed the door, locked it on habit, then leaned back against it and looked at me. "Okay," she said, letting out a long breath. "Here goes." I stayed near the window and waited. The quiet belonged to her. "You said you do not like pretending with people's lives," she said. "I did," I said. "And you said you would date a single mom if you liked her and respected her," she went on. "That is right," I said. She nodded like she was checking things off in her head. "Well," she said slowly, "I am a single mom. I think you know that part pretty well now." I smiled a little. "Got a hint, yeah," I said. She moved away from the door and came halfway across the room. Not all the way to me, just closer. "I like you," she said. "I respect you. I like the way you show up. I like that you did not flinch at Emma's meltdown last week in the lobby when she dropped her ice cream. I like that you talk about wood and wiring like they are feelings. I let myself smile fully at that. I did not know that was a good thing, I said. It is for me, she said. She took another breath. I do not want you to feel trapped, she said. You did a good thing last night. If this is where it stops for you, if you just want to be the guy who fixed our door and helped once, I will still be grateful. I will still text you if the lock squeaks. She swallowed and looked me straight in the eyes. But if your answer about single moms was not just talk, she said quietly, would you want to try this? Me, Emma, the way our life actually is. Not some cleaned up version. Not right away with big titles and big promises. Just try. Go on dates that end by 9. Drink coffee at weird hours. Be the man at the door because you want to be, not because the landlord sent you. The air felt thick. Not like it was hard to breathe, but like every breath mattered more. I walked toward her slowly. No big movie move. Just steady steps. When I stopped, there were only a few inches between us. I could see the tiny scar near her eyebrow, the faint dark circles under her eyes, the way her shoulders held both tension and strength. You sure? I asked. Because if I say yes, I am not treating this like a weekend project. She let out a small, shaky laugh. I do not need a weekend project, she said. I need something built to last, even if it takes time. I reached up and rested my hand on the door frame by her head for a second. I could feel where the oak shims sat behind the paint, where the long screws held tight. Then I looked back at her. You know what your ex did when he hit this door? I asked. Scared us, she said. Yeah, I said. But he did something else too. He showed us what fails under pressure. That is useful. Now we know exactly where to reinforce. Her eyes shone. This time one tear did slip free. She brushed it away almost at once. So what is your answer? She asked. Her voice was small and big at the same time. I dropped my hand from the frame and took her hand instead. You asked me if I would ever date a single mom, I said. Here's the real version. I do not want to date some idea. I want to date you, Lauren. The woman who works nights and still makes cinnamon coffee. The woman whose kid looks at her after a bad night and believes her when she says they are safe. The woman who asked the hard question instead of pretending she did not care. Her fingers gripped mine, firm and real. So yes, I said. I would. I do. If you are the one asking. For a moment she just looked at me. Then she let out a breath that sounded like a stuck window, finally sliding open. This is the part where I should say something smooth, she said. All I have is thank you. Thank you is enough, I said. She stepped closer until her chest touched mine. Her free hand moved up, fingers sliding behind my neck. She rose on her toes. I bent my head. The kiss was not wild or rushed. It was slow and sure. It felt like setting a beam onto post you trust. No panic. Just right. Her mouth was warm. Her hand did not hold me like she was scared I would leave. It held me like this was where I was meant to be. When we pulled back, our foreheads stayed together. We stayed in that small shared space of air, just breathing. So, she murmured, what are we now? We are two people who just decided to try something real, I said. Labels can catch up. Emma is going to ask, she said. A small smile moved over her lips. Then we tell her the truth, I said. We are friends who like each other and are seeing what that looks like. And we make sure she knows nothing changes about how much you are her safe place. Lauren nodded slowly. I can work with that, she said. I squeezed her hand. Good, I said. I am terrible at lying anyway. She laughed. A real laugh this time. It filled the small room and bounced off the walls. The place felt bigger when she laughed. A few nights later, I came by after my shift with takeout from the Good Taco truck and a small wooden box I had made in the shop. I had sanded it smooth until there were no sharp edges left. Crayons, tiny toys, important rocks. I had burned little labels inside each section. Emma opened the door in fuzzy socks, holding a plastic dinosaur. Mom says you are her friend, she said. I am, I said. Is that okay? She thought about it, then nodded. You fixed our door, she said. That makes you door friend. I smiled. That might be my favorite title, I said. I handed her the box. She opened it, and her eyes went wide. For my stuff? She asked. Yeah, I said. So it has a place. She ran her fingers along the edge. It is smooth, she said. That is the point, I said. No splinters. Lauren watched from the kitchen, leaning on the counter, a soft smile on her face. Our eyes met over the top of Emma's head, and that warm, steady feeling came back, like standing in a room you helped hold up. I was fixing her door when she first asked me if I would ever date a single mom. Back then, it sounded like a strange question in a quiet room. Standing there now, with Emma sorting her treasure into a box I built and Lauren pouring 3 cups of cinnamon coffee, there was nothing strange about it. This was what it looked like. Not a rescue, not a movie, just 3 people in a small apartment with a solid lock, warm light, and the start of something honest. Real life is not about finding perfect materials. It is about choosing the ones that have already been tested and deciding to build anyway. And when the right woman looks at you in the middle of all that and asks, "Would you ever date a single mom?" You get to look around at the life you are standing in and answer from the deepest part of your chest. I already am.
If this story stays with your heart, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with your friends.